In case you haven't heard the name, Damian Lillard is an American basketball player and one of the most electrifying point guards in the game today. But despite all of this, he has failed to achieve one of his main goals in this popular sport, which is winning the championship. One of the big reasons is because the current team he plays for, the Trailblazers, are nowhere near winning the championship as compared to some of the big teams in the tournament. With this in mind, it's very possible that Lillard may choose to move on from the Blazers and make the switch to a team with a reputation for winning. But before we get any further into this video, do make sure to leave a big thumbs up on the video and subscribe to our channel if you are looking for the latest and greatest news surrounding the world of sports and entertainment. Now, let us speculate if Damian Lillard will in fact join the LA Lakers and team up with the great LeBron James in the process. To capture that coveted championship ring that Damian Lillard has been looking forward to, a move away from the Trailblazers to the infamous LA Lakers will surely boost his chances. Not only this, making the switch to the Lakers may give the NBA fans one of the best attacking trios in the league. If he does make the move, the trio will consist of Damian Lillard, Anthony Davis, and LeBron James. Damian's current team, the Portland Trailblazers, are in quite a tough spot right now. They are still too good to tank and hope for a draft pick to turn into a franchise cornerstone, but at the same time, they are just not good enough to compete for the championship. And quite frankly, being in no man's land is the worst position you could be in as an NBA team. But luckily for Portland, they have a very valuable asset, their most valuable player, who goes by the name of Damian Lillard. And currently, their superstar has yet to request a trade from Portland and has his heart set on bringing them the championship. But unfortunately, with the position the team currently is in, it would take more than even a miracle to make this championship dream turn into reality. What makes it even more gut-wrenching for the Portland Trailblazers is that they had their best shot not too long ago, back in 2019. They had made the conference finals, but sadly got thumped by the Golden State team, who were not even featuring Kevin Durant in the particular matchup. The Portland Blazers desperately need to move things around to upgrade their roster, but just do not have the pieces to do so. While CJ McCollum is quite the talented player, he just is not the best second option for a team that is trying to win the championship. If the team is actually trying to get out of the no man's land position that they are currently stuck in, it is about time to start considering a rebuild, because what they currently have will not take them anywhere. Being a relatively small market team compared to some of the other giants in the league, Portland will be very hesitant in letting their stars enter free agency because they will risk losing them to larger markets for nothing. And if Portland refuses to enter the rebuild phase, we can witness the same thing happen to Damian Lillard. Lillard will not become a free agent until 2025, by which time he would be 34 years old and probably headed towards the end of his career. So it is highly unlikely that Portland will have a better roster by then as compared to the current roster. This will probably mean that they would not be able to convince Damian to stay with them to win a title there. So it is in his best interest to try to look to win the championship somewhere else. And where is the best option, you ask? Well, no need to look any further past the Los Angeles Lakers. The Lakers so far have no committed salary heading into the summer of 2025. This is because by the time Damian would be a free agent in 2025, Anthony Davis would also be entering free agency. Maybe the latter could convince the former to join him on the Lakers. With no committed salary on the payroll, the Lakers will have more than enough salary cap to bring on the max contracts of both those players and form a deadly dynamic duo to win them the championship. And if you combine that with LeBron James, who would be 41 by the time, but will still be a serviceable player looking at his body and his fitness, this looks like a scary big three, which would be impossible to stop in the long run. LeBron James by 2025 will probably sign a much cheaper deal than the one he currently has, but the way he takes care of himself and is still dominating the NBA at such an old age, there is absolutely no doubt that he won't be able to play a much reduced role at the age of 41. So, while a big three consisting of Damian, AD, and LeBron is definitely in the cards in the near future, let us analyze and see what we already know about Damian Lillard's choice to move on from the Portland Trailblazers. Lillard had expressed his desire to play for the LA Lakers after he posted a tweet way back in 2017. In response to a Twitter user asking Damian who he would prefer for other than the Trailblazers, he had this to say: "If Blazers said they didn't want me, Utah Jazz or Lakers." Lillard has already shown that the LA Lakers would be one of his top choices to play for if he had to choose besides the Blazers, and to be honest, this makes a lot of sense. LA has been the most attractive place for free agents all throughout the league's history, and the Lakers are one of the few teams in the NBA that can count on free agency to get star players, as compared to smaller markets who tend to rely on trades or a draft. Bleacher Report, in fact, published an article back in March of this year where Damian stated what it would take for him to leave the Blazers. In response to this question, Damian said, "For me, it would have to come down to my team saying, look, we're going in a different direction, and we don't want to hold you hostage. Basically, what route do you want to go?" Damian has further made it clear that a possible rebuild will be the only thing to stir him away, and by the looks of it, the possibility of a rebuild is quite high. If the team does approach him and tell him they're thinking of moving on and rebuilding, we can see him move on after his contract eventually expires in 2025. We all know that LA is the place for him to go if he enters free agency. The attractiveness of a big market combined with the winning culture and the history of the franchise would make it the perfect place for him to go and finish his career. With Anthony Davis locked in till 2025, the same year that Damian will be a free agent, it is very possible that the two will eventually team up and bring home the championship to LA. Salary issues would not be a problem with LeBron James, most likely to switch to a minimum contract by that point in time. LeBron has in fact already made attempts to recruit Damian to LA. According to Odyssey's John Healy, LeBron James recruited superstar point guards before who were under contract with another team. We mentioned Steph Curry, but LeBron also recruited Damian Lillard a few years ago, quietly behind the scenes. I think it was in 2018, shortly after LeBron signed with the Lakers. Dame is very loyal to Portland and the Blazers, but LeBron did recruit him. My sources tell me LeBron reached out to Lillard and said, "Hey, join me in LA and come play for the Lakers," to which Lillard obviously refused. While this quote was published in 2018, it was at a time where Portland had finished as the third seed in the West and would get the third seed again a year later. A lot can happen in 3 years, and if we look at 2021, a lot of teams in the West like the Jazz, Mavs, and Suns have all gotten better, while Portland stayed the same. This scenario could make Damian realize that his team is stuck in the middle with no direction and could cause him to want to leave Portland once and for all. Combined with his contract expiring in a couple of years and recruitment attempts made from LeBron James himself, Damian to the Lakers is a real possibility sometime down the line. With this, we have reached the end of our video. Now please let us know your thoughts on our theory. Will Damian finally leave for the Lakers, or will he grind it out to the end and be loyal to the Portland Blazers? Let us know in the comments down below. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel for sports and entertainment updates and news. We'll catch you on the next one.